I still don't like Oklahoma City for that reason. It's
Hey folks, welcome to the table. It is the beginning of May, and I'm so thankful, Ray, for you and for our conversations, and also for new months, because then I get to celebrate that something new has started up, maybe some stuff from the previous month we can kind of let go of and move forward from. What I'm hinting at is that new seasons of life are really great to help move past moments of embarrassment that have happened.
yeah. If you ever have an embarrassing moment, you want to move as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Beyond and past it, and I start to say, forget it. I'm not sure those really embarrassing moments you'll forget.
No.
Stefan, you remind me. Years ago, there was a time when I actually played the piano okay.
You still play pretty well.
No, I do not, but that's kind. He actually plays. I bang, he plays. But there was a time when I could play some, and I was in a music kind of competition, and it was vocal and instrumental, and I won the instrumental for the state of Florida and went to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma to compete in the national competition.
That's the big leagues.
And so I wouldn't say that, but that's what I did. And so it was all high school. And so I went, and there's, I don't know, 1,000 people there. And so it comes to my turn, this is all in front of people and you're being judged. And so I'm walking across the stage to go to this grand piano in this hall, and
the room's silent.
Yeah, they're waiting on me. Our next contestant is blah blah blah. He'll be playing blah blah blah. And so that's in the days when you didn't have wireless stuff, and so there's wires all over the stage. There's a wire that's not taped down, that's sticking about that far up.
Uh-oh.
Guess who found it?
You did.
I did. Bam!
Yeah.
In front of everybody, flat, tripped, walked into the piano.
To the piano. You hadn't played yet.
I hadn't played yet. I hadn't gotten there. I had to play. And I'm like, I'm a teenager.
Yeah.
I am mortified beyond belief.
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't win nationals. Even if I hadn't tripped, I wouldn't have won nationals. But that did not help. But I was so embarrassed. And as a teenager, it's like everything is 100 million times worse.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed. I never competed again. I was done. And so, I wanted to get out of that hall, out of Oklahoma City. I still don't like Oklahoma City for that reason.
I'm sure the people there are wonderful. And if there's anybody watching from Oklahoma City, we don't hold that against you.
We love you. Well, I might a little bit, but anyway.
Now that reminds me, high school years and also performative circumstances, those are the times where embarrassment really sinks in. Well, for me, I was in a church choir, and we were doing a yearly performance. We had put on a skit, a play, and there were some songs in there. And I had a solo this year, and I was excited about that.
Yeah.
And I prepared for it and done really well in getting ready for it. And finally, the day of comes, and I'm up there, and the light's on me, and I've got my Britney Spears mic on, and that's, as a teenager,
rocking it.
embarrassing enough. And I finally get to that moment, that little bit of the solo in the song for me, and I start to sing, and the notes get higher and higher, and at some point my voice just gave out, and I could not sing those next higher notes.
But you've done it before.
I've done it plenty of times before, but in that moment I couldn't hit the notes. That wasn't the embarrassing thing for me. What was embarrassing was looking down at my youth director, who was just in the floor of the stage below, looking down at her and thinking I was whispering, talking with her and saying, I just can't hit the note, or something like that. I can't hit the note. But as soon as I said that, I remembered, no, I still have that Britney Spears microphone on, and it is on for my solo, and I just broadcasted that to the whole...
You told everybody you couldn't hit the note?
I couldn't hit the note. I thought I was talking with her. She was right there. I needed some comfort.
I am so sorry.
I don't think I sung for years. I love to sing. I'm so
sorry.
And it took me a while.
Oh my gosh, but that stuck with you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and today at the table, there's a point to our embarrassing moments in there. Yeah. And it has to, with someone in the church, we have great affection, and we talk about him like one of the saints.
Yeah.
Indeed, he is one of the saints.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I don't think if I'd been living in the moment and walking around with this guy, I would have never chosen him to lead.
All right, so pop quiz then. If you had any of the 12 disciples in front of you and you had to pick out which one felt the most embarrassed about their time in life, who would you pick? It might be Bartholomew, I would guess, because nobody ever talks about him. He's out in the shadows. He must be the most embarrassed that he wants to stay in the back.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be Judas. I mean, that's a whole different animal. We'll give you a bye on the Judas. So whoever's left over.
That's right.
I wonder who you would choose.
For our thoughts, we think it might be Peter.
And I know people thinking, Peter, he's the rock. Jesus was Jesus' man.
The most outlandish, the most outgoing, the most out there in front of everyone else.
Emotionally responsive in inappropriate ways.
Couldn't possibly be the most embarrassed of the group. But then again,
you look at him, some things point to, I'm not so sure.
Of all of the wonderful things that we can point to for Peter, Peter has also some of the highest levels of embarrassment and failure.
And failure in front of everybody.
In front of everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Couldn't hide it, couldn't deny it. He was good at denying.
Yeah.
You know. So we today's kind of text we're kind of struggling with and we'll be struggling with Sunday is right on the heels of Jesus has died, been resurrected, and has appeared in various places. But at this point, in John's Gospel, he's by the sea.
Yeah.
They've been fishing. He calls them. We talked about it on Easter Sunday for
Yes.
those of you who are part of Front Street. And he comes to the seaside there and cooks breakfast for them.
Yes.
So it's a very intimate, powerful. They recognize it's the Lord.
Yes. And here's actually the first place where we might see Peter's embarrassment come forward, because in that story, which we're going to move on from in a second, but Peter and the other disciples are in the boat fishing, and they have not caught anything, and Jesus tells them to cast their nets on the other side, and finally, after a few moments, they realize it's Jesus on the shore side. Peter gets excited and jumps in the water.
Once again.
But he doesn't just jump in the water. He's fishing in his undergarments or maybe even naked, because it says he puts on some outer clothes before he jumps in the water to swim to Jesus. Now there's something in that about a man who would be so proud in so many situations, feeling as though he needed to cover himself up before jumping into the water to swim to Jesus. There is some embarrassment that he realizes there. He's got to cover himself up for Jesus.
And I had never thought about this before. Doggone it, Peter, help us bring in the net and we'll all go together in the boat. No, I got to get there first. There's this emotional charged guy.
Yeah.
Is the way that I feel that he must be.
He's got to present himself in just the perfect light because things haven't really worked out for the last couple of months or years even for him.
And his perfect light never works out. It never works out the way he thinks.
Yeah.
So he meets Jesus. He swims to Jesus. The other poor guys are in the boat trying to get the boat full of fish to Jesus. And so he leaves them in the dust or in the waves and comes ashore. And then they're just sitting around chatting.
Yeah.
And we remember the story before Jesus' crucifixion. Jesus says, you know what, you're going to deny me three times. And what does he say? No, I would never do that, Jesus. Have you lost your ever-loving mind? I would never deny you.
Yeah.
By the time the rooster crows, 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, that's it. That's what, even people don't go to church know that Peter denied Jesus 3 times.
Yep.
So we get to today's text, and something else happens.
Yeah, there's a beautiful relationship that begins to evolve and change from embarrassment, and I think still involves a lot of embarrassment, where Jesus offers a 3-fold redemption for the 3-fold denial that Peter has been a part of just recently. And so it's a beautiful thing. We can look at it that way, but I think it's really important for us to just stop and look in this moment of what's happening, what's really being presented for Peter and for his conversation with Jesus and with the other disciples still around. He's still in a public face, and to realize that this person is the person who Jesus has chosen to lead the church going forward. even still in this moment after resurrection,
After denial,
is full of embarrassment.
yeah. And Jesus still says, but on this occasion, Peter, other disciples, other apostles are gathered around the fire. They're chit-chatting, they're talking, and Jesus asked a very important question.
Yeah. He says, "Do you love me?"
Let's stop there, because that's the way we typically hear that, do you love me? But Stefan, there are several words for love, and then there's just sexual desire, which is a word, sarx. That's not one of them. We have
so in another language, because
in Greek,
in English, we really don't have that many words for love.
pretty much love,
Exactly.
but they're like levels of love or different types of love.
And we sort of understand those levels of loves in our life. We may say "I love you" to a friend differently than we really say it to a parent or to a spouse or to a child.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are all a little bit different. But they actually had different Greek words
That's
for
right.
these forms of love.
Right. They had word filio, which is like a friend. I love you. Friend, a friend love. Then they had an eros love, which is like a husband and wife intimacy type love.
Yeah.
Then we had this thing, agape.
Agape love, it was something very different.
Yes. It was.
It was incredibly intimate. It was incredibly knowing and personal. And it was just absolutely
toe,
all-encompassing.
all in. Yeah.
Yes.
It was intimate. It was all of this.
In some ways, we might have even heard this word used as agape is the love of God, like only God
The
could
ultimate.
love like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so when Jesus asked Peter the question, "Peter, do you love me?" the word he uses in Greek is the word agape.
Do you agape me? That's what he's asking to Peter.
Yeah. And Peter responds,
Yes, Lord, I phileo you.
yeah, Lord, you know that you're my friend.
Right.
You're my friend, Lord.
Yeah.
He asked him a second time, and Jesus uses the word agape. Do you
agape
agape love me? Agape me.
Yeah.
And Peter doesn't answer with agape. He answers with,
I phileo you.
Yes.
I love you as a brother, as
yeah,
a friend.
yeah. He's not going into that intimate kind of all-in love.
Yeah.
And so finally, it's almost like Jesus acquiesces and says, okay, Peter, you can't go there.
Yeah.
Peter, do you phileo love
Yeah.
me? Do you love me as a friend? You know that I do, Lord.
So the third time Jesus asks this question, he changes that word from agape to phileo, meeting Peter where he is in that moment.
He knew that Peter couldn't go there. He's just swam to see him. He understands this is the resurrected Lord. This is the Lord. And
Yeah.
he still can't do it.
So
But
that's
there-
where I wonder if Peter had gotten there first and Jesus had started asking those questions right away before the
Before
other
everybody-
disciples got there.
almost whispering to him, Peter.
Yeah,
Do
let's
you
have
love
this
me?
one-on-one conversation, Peter.
Yeah.
Do you agape me?
Yeah.
If Peter might have been okay with saying that. But
But
there
we
was
don't know.
other people around.
Yeah.
He might have been embarrassed still.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's real intimate, even for you, Jesus.
Yeah. But I guess the pivotal point here is, and this, one of the pivotal points is, Jesus kind of acquiesces and meets him. Okay, Peter, you're not, this is the third time.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you off the hook.
No New Year's Day to celebrate. No chocolate covered candy hearts to give away.
So we're at a kind of a cool place. It's
Yeah.
Cedar Rock Park. And this is Garrett Farm, which I think is the original, complete with animals.
Yeah.
There's
There's a donkey out here. There's some goats. There's a bunch of
Horse.
horses out towards the front.
There's an equine center. But this little guy just caught our eye. Just
sweet.
a sweet little lamb, and out here by himself. And he is not afraid of us, though. He's come right up.
Yeah.
I think he's looking for a bottle that we don't have.
That's right. As Jesus is asking Peter over and over again to say, I love you. Jesus knows, just as the people of that time would know, that the sheep, the flock, would only listen to the voice of the good shepherd, which would be Jesus. And so as Jesus is asking Peter to participate in this act, do you love me, feed my sheep? It is this small act of Peter practicing his own voice that the sheep would follow.
it's almost as if Jesus is passing the baton. Even in the midst of his not so great affirmation,
Yeah.
in a way disappointing Jesus again, but Jesus says, no, you're mine.
Yeah.
I still choose you.
Yeah.
And they'll hear your voice, and we do. 2,000 years later, we're still listening to Peter. This whole denial and Jesus asking 3 times had to echo hugely in Peter's brain in
Yeah.
front of his best friends.
Yeah.
The echo, the negative tenor of, oh Lord, I denied you 3 times, and here
Yeah.
I am eating beside you on the lakeside, and you want to know if I love you. And still the Christ says, yeah, it's okay.
And in this moment, I imagine the echo probably wasn't quieter and quieter. I bet it was probably even louder for Peter in this moment
You
than.
know it was.
Yeah.
Had to be.
So some of the questions I wonder for us is what echoes for your life and how Jesus is calling you to feed the sheep, to tend to the flock, to say, I love you with an all-encompassing agape kind of love. Our at-the-table conversations are either a pre-conversation for Sunday or they're a post-conversation for Sunday messaging you can be a part of. This is a place where we can collaborate and we want you to be a part of. So like and share, comment, talk to us on a regular basis about what's going on here, and we can be a part of hearing those echoes together. It might take a few of us listening to really hear it.
Well, we'll hear you. We appreciate you being here. Come out to Cedar Rock Park.
Come see our
At the
friend.
Lambs. There's one there. There's more. We thank you for joining us today
See you next time.
at the table.
I just called to say I love you. I just called